Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're going to be angry at Karens after watching this video. Our first story is part 2 of the Crazy Karen series. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll put the link in the description. So here we go. Episode 2, entitled Ex-Wife Chooses Her Boyfriend Over the Father of Her Children. A couple of notes to preface. Number 1. My ex-wife stories are not in chronological order. I just post them in the order that I remember them, or I get reminded of a good one. Number 2. The vast majority of my ex-wife stories takes place over the span of 20 years. Very few of them are recent. Number 3. My kids are grown up and out of the house, so no need to worry about if they're safe from harm from their mother. Okay, so let's set the Wayback Machine to circa 2003. I was newly enlisted in the army and I graduated boot camp and moved on to my advanced individual training post. The ex and I were working towards a divorce. Well, I was working on it. She had told me that she wanted a divorce. On family day at basic training, when I called her to ask why she was not there with my daughters. However, that's another story. Anyway, I decided that, at that point in my life, I was done with her, so I decided to grant the divorce. As you can probably imagine, processing all the paperwork via USPS with a lawyer in Florida, the home state of record, talking to an ex on the phone to iron out the details on custody, all while being in a training status with the usual limitations on your free time, was a bit taxing to say the least. About 5 months into training, I got my follow-on orders for where I was going after graduation, South Korea. It was to be a year assignment, no dependents authorized. Now, at this point, my ex had waffled on her decision to divorce me and was talking about using my year in Korea to rebuild our relationship through letters, email and phone calls. Sounds good, right? Well, she, at that point in time, had acquired a boyfriend through the internet. He lived overseas. She also had his name tattooed on the back of her neck and showed me during a video chat. Understandably, I was more than a little hurt and confused. I figured out much later that she wanted me to fight for her. I had called one Friday afternoon, before class, to inform her that we had a 4-day weekend coming up and we were being allowed to take a pass to go home if we wanted, which was a little unusual outside of Christmas exodus. I told her that I planned to fly there and see the kids, as I had not seen them in almost 9 months by that point. That's when she dropped the bomb. Well, that might be a little awkward. Well, yes, considering the state of our marriage, but I planned to sleep on the couch anyway and spend time with the kids, so... No, not that! I mean, it will be awkward because Tony will be flying in that weekend. What the F? This is the first time in 9 months that I'll be able to see the kids, and you're going to choose to have your boyfriend to visit instead? Well, it's the only weekend that he can get away, and we haven't met in person yet, so... I was beyond pissed. As you can probably imagine, she would not see reason. And from some limited interactions that I had with her boyfriend over chat, I knew that he was hot-headed, and it would be a volatile situation at best. Not wanting to subject the kids to that, I chose to fly home to my dad's house, which was not anywhere near where my ex lived with my kids, so there was no way to get them to dad's house instead of the 4 days I was going to have. The icing on the cake was that her boyfriend was not permitted entry into the US. When he got to customs, they suspected that he was going to try and overstay his tourist visa. Idiot was a DJ, and I bought a sizable portion of his music collection with him, and so denied him entry. So her selfishness caused me to miss time with my children. For all those who are going to throw out, she probably didn't even have a boyfriend. I spoke to him on a couple of occasions, got pulled into chat sessions with him, by her, and she flew to his country to visit him over Christmas, for which I dropped her off at the airport. Which worked out for me, because I flew to her town, collected the kids, and drove them down to where my parents lived for that Christmas break. I don't know where the logic is in, let's take this year apart to work on our marriage. By the way, I have another man's name tattooed on the back of my neck. Classy. I'll put the same question forward like I did in the last video. If you enjoyed this and want me to keep an eye out for episode 3, then please let me know in the comments. Entitled Mother accuses my father of sexual assault because I stood up to her. First time posting, and posting from mobile. Reading other stories have made me want to share my story, as I firmly believe just by standing up for yourself or holding your position when you're right, you can get the entitled person to back off. This happened about 3 years ago. I'd have been 27. My female cousin was getting married, and in Asian communities, it's a grand affair. You get to see many family members many times in a few days, and it's usually great. Now, the bride has 2 older brothers, one of which is married with 1 child, he'll be called OB. His wife is the entitled mother, and their son is the SS, Satan's spawn. SS was 4 or 5. There's been conflict with this particular couple in the past, as their son never behaves at family events. There are always 10 to 15 toddlers who play together and behave, but this one little brat will always be stealing toys, throwing fits and never sharing. His dad was embarrassed by his son, but so whipped by the entitled mother that he just allows her to do as she pleases. She has not raised his son, but more raised her little prince who gets what he wants and never gets in trouble. I had very recently had a hernia surgery and was playing with my various young cousins, nieces, nephews. You'll always find me playing hide and seek at these real life events. So the kids have been briefed that I'm a little fragile in the gut area, to which SS reacts as you're expecting, launching random fists into my gut. I took him to his dad and explained that all the kids were playing nicely, but this one, upon hearing upon my injury, came straight at me. Obi takes his son and apologises. Over the next few days of wedding events, there was always a group of people gossiping about what this child had done on that day. It was always something new, like screaming in the middle of ceremonies because attention wasn't on him, running around the temple during the ceremony, throwing plates on the floor and food around. This is the first time I've met SS as a toddler, and I do not put up with this behaviour at all. I strongly believe kids should have as much fun as possible, but there's a fine line where fun just becomes a parenting of a psychopath. When you see a kid do something calculated and evil, you see them laugh and smile about it, you just know something is up. Now, after days of this kid hitting me and warnings, his dad finally told him that he was just to keep away from me, which SS didn't like as I have a PC, a PS4, a phone, etc. So when he knew no one was looking and I was leaning on the banister of the stairs, he pulled my arm through it and with pathetic force tried to bend it in the wrong direction against the banister. There was no injury, but the intent to break my arm was clear. This was the final straw for me, and I took him to his dad and explained. His dad took him away, and I returned to the front room of the house where the TV was on for the kids and various toys and things about. SS came back in a few minutes later, obviously after not being told off again. He hadn't learnt a thing over the last few days and had never been disciplined ever. This is when I decided that if he wants to act like there's no consequences to his actions, I need to show him that is not how the real world works. Now don't get me wrong, I do not believe in disciplining someone else's kids, but I do believe that any human being that misbehaved and their behaviour directly affects you allows you to involve yourself. This point had been reached with the attempted arm break. SS knew what he was doing and it was time for recourse. As he came back into the room, happy as Larry, he started showing off again and threw another fist at my gut. I told SS and OB that if this happened again, there would be a reaction. My reaction was greatly measured and designed to be terrifying without causing pain. I aimed a very violent kick with my right leg to his thigh. Some of you must be crapping bricks at the concept of a 27-year-old kicking a 5-year-old, but the key thing is, before contact, I pulled out of the kick and barely touched him. But the sight of my roundhouse did its job. The kid crapped his pants, runs off, never see him again for the course of the wedding. Skip forward a few weeks, an entitled mother has been doing the rounds bad-mouthing me, telling people she's got the police involved as I kicked her child. Empty words, no police involved ever. I full on ignore, which in Asian families is huge. She continued on a weekly campaign of trying to destroy me with gossip, telling people I smoke, thinking it would hurt me, but the usual response from people was, yeah, I know. I live life with very little lies, and I just be me because I don't want anyone to have power over me, and secrets give them power. Entitled mother approached my parents and said they needed to sort me out, to which my parents replied very politely stating that they've raised 2 gentlemen and useful members of society, and that she should reflect inwardly. Key thing, incredibly polite. Entitled mother has come to learn that her barbs aren't sticking here. People know me very well, and they like me. When she tells them I kicked her son, they either thought, finally someone did, or, nah, OP knew what he was doing, he wouldn't actually kick a child. SS grandparents apologised to me for SS and explained that ever since entitled mother has married in, they don't know their son anymore, and he's just a shadow now. A few more weeks pass, and entitled mother has realised that I'm Teflon, so she diverts her attention to my father and then starts telling various family members that my father sexually abused her. She claimed to have filed a police report. No report was filed, and everyone just knew she was a liar. Reputation goes a long way. 3 years later, and because of this event, OB and entitled mother have yet to be seen. They do not get invited to any family events as no one wants them around given their capacity for drama entitled mother has. Just a note regarding these stories. We are human beings and do not need to put up with the way some of us are treated. You are well within your right to stand your ground and tell entitled parents to F right off. Wow, that woman is a complete train wreck. Refuses to discipline her own son who's going around causing chaos and hitting someone who had recently had surgery and then trying to break their arm. That's going to be one messed up teenager and then adult if something isn't done about it. I also like when OP said about not having secrets and just living your life and that way no one can have any power over you. I think that's true and it's something I live by too. Except, showing my face and telling you all my real name. But in real life, I'm a pretty open book, I think. Okay, so that's all for r/EntitledParents. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord, and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!